What is up, everybody? Welcome into episode 25 of the Brahma Bullpen. It's going to be an exciting episode. We got breaking news. We do have the full rule sheet out by the UFL. You can go to theufl.com. There was a link to download the PDF so you can get real in depth and read all the minute details on the rules. We're going to cover the key points later in this episode, so stick around if you're interested in seeing some of the rules and opinions on that. But before we go any further, we need to make sure that we announce the winner of game one tickets to the Brahmas. So you're going to see this pop up on my screen. I'm going to look here on my phone. I'm going to go to my randomizer app. So bear with me if I'm looking down. So we entered everybody's name into a randomizer that commented on the video, whether it was on the Brahma Bullpen page or the United Football Media page where we post all of our videos to from the cow pasture. We send them up through the interwebs and they post them there for us. So if you made any comment, words, symbols, whatever you put in there, we entered your name here. So pop that up. We're going to run this randomizer and 3, 2, 1. Let's see who wins tickets to game number 1 on March 31st. Looks like Bradley. Bradley. Got you. Bradley, you're the winner. At Bradley, you posted that Darius Victor was a New Jersey general in 2022. Corrected me. See, that's how you know I'm not partial. Even though you corrected me on here, I truly appreciate the correction. USFL Offensive Player of the Year, and he called me buddy. So he was even, talking a little smack there. So you are the winner, sir. We'll be reaching out to you on YouTube to give you that opportunity to accept those tickets. If he does not accept the tickets, what we'll do after that is spin it again until somebody wants them. Real quick, the next tickets we're going to give away is going to be off of this video, right? So comment on this video, episode 25. We'll wait a couple of weeks, and then we'll give out the tickets. The game that we will be giving out the tickets for is going to be April 14th in the Dome versus St. Louis. That's April 14th in the Dome versus St. Louis. We'll be giving away tickets, and I'm going to zoom in here. That game will be at 3 p.m., broadcast on ABC Sunday, April 14th. It'll be the third game of the XFL season and the Brahmas' second home game. Comment on this video for a chance to win those tickets. All right, before we get into the rules and talk about all that stuff, I got to go on a little bit of a tangent. I know we got a lot to talk about in the show, so I'll try not to ramble too long because, we don't want this thing to go forever. But I do have to go on a little bit of a tangent. We are still on X and social media platforms. All the fanboys, you know who you are, fanboys. We're all fanboys. I consider myself in that group, but all these diehard spring football fanboys. And we're still running into this USFL versus XFL thing. And there's a couple thoughts I have on it. One, the XFL hub model puts teams and players in home fields. All 8 teams will each have 5 home games in their home market. I don't understand why it's still a topic of conversation while I get chastised for simply pointing out that all teams have a more equal schedule and all fans have a better opportunity to see their players. A lot of people are like talking about players not being in home markets. Hello, there was only one team in one home market the first year of the USFL, and that was the Ponies, right? So obviously, you know who's crying the most about it. Okay, you're still getting 5 home games, Ponies. Shut up. The other thing is year 2, there was only 4 hubs in the USFL. I don't know what the big deal is with the teams being located in Arlington and Dallas. Maybe everybody that doesn't live in Texas just hates Texas and they want to whine about something. But the fact of the matter is, it's the center of the country. It has the best air travel you could possibly imagine, more direct flights to other cities than most other airports, right? It's the easiest place to travel, East Coast, West Coast, and Central part of the country, and the Central Time Zone, Mountain Time Zone. Eventually, this league is gonna go from East Coast to West Coast. Nobody wants to have short-sighted visions on where we put the hub or the offices for the XFL, right? I don't understand we're still talking about that. Eventually, we'll have team ownership uh, be back in local cities and things like that, which would bring a whole nother topic or a whole nother group of problems with it, because what if an owner wants to buy a team and move them? I mean, we don't know what's going to happen, but for right now, this time period, it's a squashed topic of conversation. The XFL hub model is better than the USFL hub model. Deal with it. The other rant I got, I've said it a couple times on a couple different videos, but I want to let the Birmingham Stallions fans know they are not the champs of anything. Whoever runs the Birmingham Stallion X account and they got back-to-back champs, that's cool. But when the season starts, you're not champ of nothing. USFL don't exist. You don't hear Arlington Renegades and Arlington Renegade fans telling everybody they're the champs and they have XFL champs and their profile and all that stuff. Of course, they count the championship to a league that doesn't exist anymore. The XFL doesn't exist anymore. The league of football known as the XFL does not exist, nor does the league known as USFL exist. We are part of the UFL now. The UFL, the United Football League, is what exists now, and nobody has won that championship. I don't understand why we're worried about, I'd be like, you know, bringing up the Dallas Cowboys championship. Well, Dallas Cowboys were champions in the 90s, so that means Arlington are the champions because the stadium's right next door to Jerry World. Okay, it's the same thing. That doesn't exist. This is UFL. Move on. Let's get to the future. It's here. It's now. It's the present. So that's my rant. Next thing, we're gonna talk to some of our fanboys. If you would pop up the graphic there with Deestroying. Everybody knows Deestroying signed with the Brahmas. And when I mean everybody, I mean even non-spring football friends. Deestroying is the UFL's version of Taylor Swift. A lot of people have been hating on Taylor Swift. Me personally, I could care less. I think people just want to hate Kansas City because they're the winners right now. They're the new New England Patriots, and everything the Patriots did, people hated back in the day. Now Kansas City's having to deal with that. That's the price of success. Um, I don't have a problem with Taylor Swift. I don't have a problem with her putting eyeballs on football, and no one should have a problem with destroying putting eyeballs on the UFL. No San Antonio Brahma fan for sure should have a problem with it. The first day that he signed with the Brahmas and UFL, their social media accounts gained thousands and thousands and thousands of followers. And I don't even know where it's at now from where it was, but I'd be interested to, if I had the wherewithal and was smart enough to look at it the day they announced the signing and see where it is now, that would be awesome. But I have no idea. So if anybody knows that information, please feel free to leave it in the comments, and you'll be entered in to win 2 tickets to the April 14th game versus the Battle Chickens here in the Dome. So, but let's look at the stats. I put Deestroying stats in here. They're not kicking stats. They're not football stats. They're the stats that matter. They're the stats that got him invite to training camp. Whether he makes the team as the kicker or not, irrelevant. He's going to be in training camp. He's going to get a shot. That's all any player gets. Just because he's got 5.73 million subscribers on YouTube doesn't mean he can go in and miss all his field goals in practice and still get signed to the team, right? It's not going to happen. Okay, but did that give him an opportunity? Is it beneficial for the Brahmas and for the UFL and for Deestroying to kind of all be part of this together? Sure, it is. Give the guy a shot. You know what I'm saying? 1.3 billion views on YouTube. And here's the crazy part. His estimated approximate income based upon his views and subscribers and hours watched and all that stuff, for that, according to YouTube, is between $71,000 and $1.1 million a year. That is way more. 1.1 million is way more than what any players make playing for the UFL. Deestroying does not need a UFL paycheck. The UFL can use as much publicity as they can get to get through this season because newsflash, butts in seats will be what is needed to sustain this league. That's also why the USFL hub model was trash. Thank you. Butts in seats. I know here in the Brahma Bullpen, we're doing our part. We are giving away 2 tickets. As I mentioned before, comment on this video. You'll get 2 free tickets to the game. Hopefully that will push someone to start buying some swag, footballs, hats, and make up for it and then get hooked on spring football and come to the games. So I think it's good for the league. I don't know why people were complaining about Deestroying being signed, saying he was taking a position away from like a real football player. The dude was a real football player. He played college ball and he's tried out, and he's not like a YouTube guy that's not a kicker is doing this. You know what I mean? It's not like a Jake Paul or someone who boxes coming in here. This guy was a kicker before he was a YouTube sensation. He's a football player. Welcome to the Brahmas, Deestroying. Good luck in training camp. May the best kicker on the roster win. And that's all I got to say about that. Let's move on to our next slide. Speaking of special teams, a different type of kicker. We're going to go with the announcement that Brad Wing has been signed to the training camp roster by the San Antonio Brahmas as our punter. All of us Brahma fans know he's from Australia. He was our punter last year. He was probably the best punter in the XFL last year. You can see by the stats here, 4.79 yards gross punting average, and 72 yards was his longest punt and it was also the longest punt in the XFL last year. So those are a couple of great stats. Our special teams are looking good. They're going to be solid. Of course, we got Amendola as the potential other kicker going along with Deestroying. If you watched episode 24, you got a little tidbit from Bryce Allen, going to be on some punt coverages, So our special teams are looking really, really good. We don't know. The rumor is, I think AJ Smith is going to be also the special teams coach. That's kind of what Bryce Allen alluded to in our last episode. So we'll see if that actually turns out to be a case. We're still missing a couple of confirmed coach positions there. But Brad Wing was a fan favorite here in San Antonio. Everybody at the Brahmas glad he is back. We're going to get into the punting rules a little bit. It might not be as advantageous for a punter this year with a rule change, and Brad's definitely going to be one of those affected by it. And in our next slide here, we'll start getting into some of the rules, and we'll talk about that just a little bit. So going on to the rules. This is just going to be a helicopter view of the rules. We're not going to get into all the minute details. We're going to assume everybody watching the show is a fan of football, and they know what flags and penalties are and why they're being thrown and when they're being thrown and all that stuff. We're going to just look at the key points. So one of the big thing is points after touchdowns. Whoever the field goal kicker is, you're not going to be involved in kicking a extra point attempt. I know there's a lot of people mad about that, but let's be honest. It's one of the least impactful plays of the game for football in general. It's 1 point. Most of the time it's a chip shot. I know it's reps. I know it's getting kickers kicks. I know all that's happening, but at some point you do things for the fans. And so having an extra play from scrimmage from the 2-yard line for 1 point, the 5-yard line for 2 points, and the 10-yard line for 3 points is more exciting. Basically, we get more football plays. More football play. A football play is a corner route to the back of the end zone is more exciting to watch than an extra point attempt. A screen pass to Bryson Allen out on the edge, having our Alex Millette and Yarborough pull and block for him in a screen to get in the end zone is more exciting than watching extra point kick. Okay, I'm just throwing it out there. I know these guys want reps. I know they want to get in the league, but understand the league needs to make decisions that's also good for the league We need eyeballs. We need butts in seats. More football equals more excitement. It's better for the fans. There's a lot of people that have the player's best interest in mind and they want more reps for the kicker. And I get it. But, you know, this is one of the decisions they made for fans. All right. So, kickoffs are going to be similar to college and football from the 20-yard line. If it goes out of bounds, it's a penalty. You get the ball on the 30. If a kickoff is untouched, the receiving team may only be recovered by the kicking team up to 20 yards from the spot of the kick. All this typical yardage and kicking rules that you would see. We'll get into the punts here in a little bit. So go to the next slide. Other kicking touchback rules. All touchbacks on kicks, punts, or kickoffs will be placed at the 25-yard line. Here we go. This is where Brad Wing and all the punters are really going to have to evaluate their style of play, evaluate the game, and probably come up with unique ways to show off their skills. So any punt that goes out of bounds inside the 25-yard line will be considered a touchback, and the ball would be placed on 25. Do I think it's a great rule? No, I do not. Do I want to chastise the league for making it? No, I do not. Basically, if the ball rolls out of bounds at the 1-yard line, the receiving team gets it on the 25. That does suck, but it also is there to promote more punt returns. So people want to immediately say, well, it's bad for the punters, and it might be bad for the punters. You can still directionally kick the ball. You can still put enough hang time on it to allow the coverage team to get down there and surround the punt returner. You can do those things, hang time, distance. Brad Wing can still punt the ball for 70 yards if he has to. Like, all those things can still be there to showcase his talent. There's still going to be the same number of punts. It's not like you're taking punt reps off the game, but it's there to promote returns, and that's more exciting than, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Seeing a sweep punt where the ball gets down inside the 5-yard line and the coverage team dive in to keep it in there and all that stuff is cool, and I do find that exciting. So I don't know if I would say this is a great rule, but I also know that I do not want to criticize the rule because I'm a UFL homer now. I'm a whatever the UFL wants to do. I'm going to defend it. I am not going to attack my spring football league. I am going to support my spring football league, and I am going to support the San Antonio Brahmas. Horns forward. Let's go. Brad Wing, if you want to come on the channel and call me an idiot for saying that, please do so. I would love to get a punter's perspective on this. Next thing, alternate possession opportunities. So you'll always be able to do an onside kick at any time in the game. This is an XFL rule. Moving to the USFL, the alternate option is if a team is down in the fourth quarter, they can retain possession of it by going for it on 4th and 12 on their own 28-yard line. If you don't get the 4th and 12, obviously the opposing team gets that ball there. They're already in their own red zone or close to it, and they can take it in, and you can get behind by a lot of points. The Brahmas were, I think, the first team to suffer the consequences of this rule when we were beating St. Louis last year in the Alamo Dome. The Battle Chickens were gonna lose. They scored a touchdown. Then they got the 3-point conversion. Then they got the dadgum fourth. It used to be 4th and 15. Now it's going to be 4th and 12. But then they got the dadgum 4th and 15. And then they went down and beat us. And it was a crazy, crazy last couple minutes of the game. I think it was like a minute and a half. All that stuff happened. So, anyways, it's a cool rule. We'll see what happens in these fourth quarters and what coaches like to gamble. Heinz Ward was a coach last year, and he was definitely a gambler. So he went for all that stuff. Every chance it made sense. The 2 forward pass rules the same as NFL. You can throw it as long as you're behind the line of scrimmage and then throw it forward. No penalties. Defensive pass interference. I like this. All too often in the NFL, defensive pass interference, they just throw the ball up, and wherever the PI penalty happens, that's where the ball goes, right? And sometimes teams play for the PI call. A team should not be playing for the PI call and using it as an advantage. That means the rules messed up. This is more along the lines of college, where no matter where it happens on the field, it's a 15-yard penalty. It could be a spot foul if it's less than 15 yards, but it's 15 yards or less for the penalties. And then there's the intentional defensive pass interference, or what they would consider to be unsportsmanlike or unnecessary roughness tied to it. That could be a spot foul if it's further. So the other thing is replay reviews. That is going to be part go along with the XFL, which is awesome. Coaches can challenge anything. If they think there's PI and it wasn't called, they can challenge that. If there was PI called, they can challenge that. They get one a game. If you get it right, you keep your timeout. If you get it wrong, they take your timeout. I will tell you this: Hines Ward used this to his advantage in season 1 for the Brahmas. There was many, I at least 4 or 5 different times I saw him throw a flag on what he thought was a penalty. And he got most of them right. He got most of them right. It was extremely helpful. You know, we all watch football and we see something happen and we're thinking where the refs' eyeballs were at. Well, now the coaches have the opportunity to have the guys up in the booth, Dean Bandino, go back in there and check all that out. So that's cool. Overtime rules are the best overtime rules on the planet. Everybody gets the ball on the 5-yard line. No kicks. You keep going with more football plays till somebody wins. If everybody remembers, there was once a 7 overtime game in College Station against LSU where the Aggies came out on top, and that was exciting and terrifying all at the same time. Every player was tired, but none of this walk away with the tie nonsense that the NFL has. It's the most preposterous thing for the NFL, the number 1 sport on the planet, with millionaires and billionaires and hundreds of millions of dollars gambled on every single game and all this stuff and TV and all this nonsense, and we're going to walk away with a tie. And then you have a different rule from the regular season to the playoffs. You know, we had overtime in the Super Bowl this year, and the rule's like totally different than what it is the regular season. What the heck is that all about? Play the game till somebody wins. I love this overtime rule. And that's it. Remember, comment on the video. Tell me what rules you like and don't like. We're going to be giving away the tickets to the 3rd game of the season, April 14th. The only thing you have to do is comment on this video. Once again, thanks for watching. From the cow pasture, on behalf of the United Football Media Group, this is the Brahma Bullpen, and we're going to go ahead and get out of here with a horns forward, baby. Like, share, subscribe. Come on.